Let's be real for a second. If you're a corporate executive, your calendar is probably a total disaster area, right? Double booked meetings and a desk just buried under these massive, sprawling strategic initiatives. But have you ever noticed that the more sophisticated a strategic plan looks on paper, the longer it actually takes to get the thing done? Well, today in this explainer, we're unpacking a really powerful framework from 𝗧𝗵𝗲 Strategic Spark series. The core thesis here is beautifully straightforward, but honestly, it's something so many leadership teams just completely miss. We're talking about how to actually accelerate corporate execution by doing less. Not more, but less. We're going to break down the science and the strategy behind the speed of simplicity and hopefully give you the exact tools you need to streamline your organization. Okay, let's just dive right into this. We're looking at a stark contrast that hits right at the heart of a daily pain point for, well, almost every executive out there. Complex plans, they slow you down. Simple plans, they move you forward. I mean, it sounds like absolute basic common sense, doesn't it? But man, in the corporate world, we are just constantly battling operational bloat. We build these massive cross-functional task forces, these glorious 50-slide strategy decks, crazy multi-layered approval matrices, and we do it because we think we're being thorough, right? We think we're covering all our bases, but actually, scratch that. What we're really doing is just creating massive friction. Every single extra layer of complexity is basically just a giant speed bump on your road to execution. And really, that leads us directly into what Day identifies as a major pitfall. He calls it the execution trap. Overcomplicating strategy literally slows down progress. We really need to deconstruct this persistent corporate myth right here and now. There's this inherent, almost subconscious bias in business that a sophisticated strategy requires complex planning. Like, if a plan is too easy to understand, we somehow feel it isn't rigorous enough, or maybe we haven't done our jobs as leaders. But that exact mindset is the reason behind those incredibly painful strategic delays. Listen, when you mistake complexity for competence, you fall right into the execution trap. You aren't making the strategy better at all. You're just making it infinitely harder for your team to understand and actually implement. And the neuroscience really backs this up brilliantly, specifically through this concept of cognitive load. Basically, this is the mental effort required to process information. And here's the kicker. Reducing it is exactly what allows for faster decision-making and consistent execution. This is a huge insight from the source material. Think about it. Every single time you add a new metric, a new reporting line, or some brand new phase to a project, you're dialing up the cognitive load on your team. The human brain, brilliant as it is, can only process so much information at once. When that cognitive load gets too high, decision-making just paralyzes. People freeze up. They aren't sure what priority actually comes first. So simplicity isn't just about being some trendy minimalist. It's a genuine neurological necessity. It's the absolute key to removing that invisible mental barrier so your team can actually process the plan and get moving. Now, what's really fascinating is how this neuroscience translates into hard, cold business outcomes. Check this out. According to the 2021 Operational Efficiency Report that 𝗬𝗎 cites in his work, simplified processes improve execution speed by a massive 31%. 31%! Just pause and think about what a 31% increase in execution speed would actually mean for your quarterly targets. Think about the market share you could capture if your team was moving a third faster than your competitors. No way around it. This is a real game changer. This isn't just some soft feel-good theory about, decluttering your workflow. This is a hard, strictly measurable operational advantage. Reducing complexity directly and powerfully impacts your bottom line. Let's move on and see how this actually builds into a concrete methodology. We're getting into your strategic playbook here, turning simplicity into a truly actionable leadership skill. Because as a busy executive, you need to be able to take these concepts and literally apply them in your very next board meeting. So the absolutely crucial point here is captured perfectly by this quote from Day. Simplify until action becomes obvious. This is the core skill he advocates for. A true leader doesn't just manage complexity, they actively destroy it. They take this massive, tangled, multi-departmental headache of a problem and they distill it down layer by painful layer until the path forward is absolutely undeniable to every single person in the room. Honestly, if your team is still debating what to do next, you just haven't simplified the strategy enough yet. Your goal as an executive isn't to sound like the smartest person in the room. Your goal is to clarify the objective so incredibly well that the action steps practically execute themselves. To actually pull that off, Day offers this great, repeatable, two-step daily diagnostic. Step 1, you ask, where have I overcomplicated this? And step 2, what is the simplest next step? I highly recommend you run this little mental diagnostic every single time a project stalls out, or, every time an email chain gets ridiculously long, or a meeting drags way past its scheduled end time. Just hit pause. Ask yourself, where did I add unnecessary friction here? Did I really, truly need those 3 extra stakeholders to sign off on this? Probably not. Once you identify that operational bloat, you move immediately to that second step and just find the absolute most direct, uncomplicated way forward. And that brings us to our final point, and a question I really want to leave ringing in your ears today. What is the simplest next step? Seriously, think about the biggest, most frustrating bottleneck sitting on your desk right this second. You know the one, that project that just isn't moving despite all the money and resources you've thrown at it. Stop trying to solve the whole complex puzzle at once. Take what we've covered in today's explainer, reduce that cognitive load, step right out of that execution trap, and just ask yourself that one defining question. What is the simplest next step? Answer that, and then go execute.